Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Monique Speaks and Reactions. So guys, I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand that you just cannot get on the internet and tell everybody all your business. And one part of the business and the business is not to tell people where you work. Stop filming TikTok videos in the back office with your uniform on and your badge on. And please do not come on the internet streets, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and talk about your job. Nor should you talk about a patient or a mishap in the healthcare field, because guess what? You think that the internet is small. It is very vast, but it's a small, small world. And I believe you me, somebody, I don't know if it's going to be your mama, your grandmother, your next door neighbor, or even your supervisors right here on YouTube, scrolling up and down these streets and on TikTok, and they are going to see your video. I don't know if they have a task force of people out here looking for videos for the organization, but they're going to find out, and you are going to get fired. This is what happens all the time. And people are dancing, TikToking, complaining about their bosses, and then leaving identifiable information on the internet. And if you don't know about HIPAA, and I ain't talking about hippopotamuses, go look up the HIPAA law. That is something that is supposed to be adhered to, especially if you're a nurse, a doctor, or a healthcare professional. Look, guys, y'all should know better than this, but y'all hard-headed. Y'all gonna keep on doing it for whatever reason. Y'all gonna get up out here and tell something, and this is what's gonna happen to you. Let this nurse tell you right here. This is from a channel called Nurse Blessing, and she gonna tell you what happened. Part 1.
I'm going to make this quick because I just did a 12-hour shift and I'm ready to go home, take a shower, do a little study, and then go to sleep before I have to be back at the hospital. If you have a family member that's in the hospital that can't speak for themselves, please go all day, every day until that patient is out of the hospital. There was a 36-year-old patient on my floor who every time he used the bathroom, his hemoglobin came out. Anytime he coughed, he hemoglobined. His hemoglobin and hit a 0.4. Those who don't know what that means, it means the game is about to be over. So anyway, the guy wasn't my patient, but I was overhearing what was going on, so I went in there to check it out. When I went in there, the patient was crying literally like a baby. This is a grown man crying like a baby, screaming, "Please no, don't leave me, please, I'm afraid." So you know it's serious because that's a man crying like a baby. It's serious. His wife didn't care. His nurse didn't care. His tech didn't care. No one cared. So I'm like, "Hey, my name is Kiki. I'm here. I'm not going to leave you." He said, "You got me. You got me." I said, "I got your back. We're going to get this figured out." So I went to read his chart, and that's when I found out his hemoglobin hit a 0.4. And I'm like, why is this man not in ICU? I work on med-surg. This man is not hooked up to anything. See, on med-surg, that med-surg is for patients who really don't need help. They're just there to get observed. You get what I'm saying? But this man is not hooked up to a tele. This man is not hooked up to an IV. He's not hooked up to anything. So he's just sitting in this room. And I'm just like, why is no one doing anything? Those numbers are not good. You get what I'm saying? Like, they talking about, oh, he was able to stand up and go to the restroom by himself, but now he can't because he's dizzy. Of course he's dizzy. He has no more hemoglobin. He's circling the drain, bro. So I'm pissed at this point. So I go talk to his nurse. I said, "Excuse me, do you know what's going on in room 19 and whatever like that?" She was like, "Yeah, I know what's going on," and stuff like that. I said, "Did you read his chart and whatever?" I said, "Don't you think that you need to call lab to redo his hemoglobin labs and whatever?" And I was like, also too, do you think you need to call the doctor because this man needs to be in ICU. He needs a transfusion. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not a doctor, right? But I got enough common sense to know that this man needs a transfusion and that he needs to be sent to ICU. No one else seems to care, honestly. You know what the nurse said to me? She said, "Oh no, he's fine. He's just in pain. I'm going to give him some medicine to put him to sleep." I started crying. I started crying because this man is 36 years old and no one cares enough to do their job. And I wanted to pull the wife to the side and say, excuse me, you need to transfer your husband out of here if you want to see him live another day. But if I was to do that, I would have lost my job. So you know what I did? I wrote it on a sticky note and I put it in her laptop. And guess what? Mom came the next day. No one knew mom was coming. His mom was coming. And she read that note. And when I say she went the off, and guess what? Her son got sent to ICU. They sent him to surgery. They got him a transfusion, and now he is doing better. And now he's back on my floor because I got transferred to the floor below med surg and whatever like that. He's now on my floor. When he seen me.
So guys, let's go back to, this is part one.
He's back on my floor because I got.
Now, I so empathize with this young lady because as a healthcare professional, you want your patients to do well. And she saw where she felt that this patient wasn't getting the care and the attention that they needed. I certainly agree with everything that she said in the beginning, where if you have a family member, try to be with them every day, all day, with someone there to advocate for them. Now, where she went wrong is I don't think she's a nurse, because she kept referring to the nurse. So I don't know if she's a tech or an aide, and I don't know if this is her uniform, but she verbalized some identifiable information as it relates to the patient. She didn't say the name, she didn't say the facility, but you don't never know when somebody's going to see your video, and people can put two and two together and make four, maybe like the family members, and be like, oh, so that what was happening. And it opens up for lawsuit, litigation, that type of thing. So she mentioned that the man was 36 years old. She mentioned that he had a low hemoglobin. She mentioned that he was on a med surg floor. She mentioned that the patient's wife was there. She mentioned that the next day that the patient's mother came, and then she wrote something on a piece of paper. Writing on the piece of paper is just like saying it. So she was trying to be discreet. Now, I don't know if this blue smock she has on is her uniform, but maybe certain institutions wear uniforms. And so basically she was like, I didn't want to say it because I would lose my job. So this is part one. And some people may think, well, she didn't identify the hospital. She didn't say what she did. Say med surg. She did say 36-year-old man. She did say his hemoglobin was low. She did mention some things that he was on a particular floor, that type of thing. So those things can be identifiable, especially if a family member sees her and was like, wait, that was my son's or my husband's nurse. Is this what happened? So let's go to part two, and then I'll finish with the commentary. But I know a lot of people are thinking like she didn't do anything wrong. However, let's see what happened to this young lady in part two.